You're not living your life. You're living the life that was programmed into you by your parents, your culture, your school, your fears, and the scariest part is, you've called this programming truth for so long that you've forgotten there's a difference. Take a breath. Let that settle in your chest. Now tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? Seriously, pause for a second and write it. Because this message, this journey, needs to reach as many hearts as possible. And I want to know who out there is ready to remember who they really are. You weren't born lost. You were born whole. You were born curious, wild, creative, intuitive. Everything you needed was already inside you. And then, little by little, the world started editing you. Don't say that. Act like this. That's not what good boys do. Be more polite. Stop being so sensitive. You're too loud. You're not enough. Each message didn't seem that harmful on its own. But over time they stacked up like bricks around your soul. And eventually you forgot there was something real underneath all of that. That real part? Carl Jung called it the self. The authentic, whole, integrated version of you. But to protect it, you created what Jung called the persona, a mask. The version of you the world wanted. The one that could get approval, survive rejection, play the game. But now here's the problem. You've worn that mask so long you started believing it was your face. You wake up every day, look in the mirror, go to work, talk to your family, smile politely, but deep down, there's a silent scream. A whisper that says, "This isn't me, I don't know who I am anymore." That's why you feel tired even after sleeping. That's why you scroll through your phone and feel hollow. That's why no amount of productivity makes you feel fulfilled. Because your soul is starving for truth. And that's what we're going to explore together in this video. This isn't just about psychology. This is about your spirit. This is about coming home to the part of you that never needed fixing, only remembering. We'll go deep into Jung's teachings, yes, but more than that, we'll translate them into real, emotional, spiritual tools you can actually use to reclaim your clarity, your power, your peace, and it starts now. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like your reactions don't match the moment? Like someone says something small, but inside you, a wave of rage or shame erupts, way out of proportion. That's not random. That's the sombra. Carl Jung believed that we all carry a shadow, the parts of ourselves we've rejected, suppressed, or were shamed for. These pieces don't disappear. They wait, quietly. And they show up not just in your darkness, but in your projections. When you judge others harshly or when you get irrationally triggered by things that seem small, the shadow doesn't want to ruin your life. It wants to be seen. Most people try to silence it, medicate it, avoid it. But what if I told you that facing your shadow is the doorway to your freedom? Here's the first step: radical honesty. Write down, yes, actually write it, 3 things you dislike most in other people. Arrogance, laziness, neediness, and whatever they are. Then ask yourself, where do I carry this, even in small, quiet ways? Because the traits that bother you most in others often reflect your own repressed pieces. Step 2. Write a letter to your shadow, as if it were a person you abandoned long ago. Tell it you're ready to listen. You're ready to learn. You're ready to stop running. Step 3. Observe your reactions. Instead of judging them, become curious. Why did I get so angry just now? What am I really afraid of? What story am I telling myself? The more you bring these unconscious patterns into awareness, the less control they have over you. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Let's not call it fate anymore. Let's call it what it is, a chance to reclaim your life. Now there's something else that happens when you start facing the shadow. You start realizing how much of your identity is based on what others needed from you, not what was true for you. That brings us to the next layer, the persona. Your persona is the social mask you wear to survive. We all have one, but most of us build it too well. When you were a child, you learned quickly, if I act this way, I get love. If I act that way, I get rejection. So you adapted. And the more you adapted, the more disconnected you became from your essence. Let me give you an example. A child who is naturally bold, outspoken, and intuitive might grow up in a home where obedience is valued above all. So that child learns to silence their instincts, to smile instead of speak, to comply instead of create. And that child grows into an adult who seems well-adjusted, but inside, they're numb. This is why so many people feel like they're living someone else's life. Because they are. They're living the version that made everyone else comfortable. But here's the truth, you were not born to be convenient. You were born to be real. So how do you start shedding the persona? First, ask yourself, what roles am I playing that no longer serve me? Are you the peacemaker, the overachiever, the invisible one, the strong one who never cries, the one who always says yes? None of those are your essence. They're roles, scripts, and you're allowed to rewrite them. Second, reconnect with your inner voice. Not the anxious one, not the people-pleasing one, the quiet, knowing one. A simple practice. Every morning before you check your phone, close your eyes and ask, what do I want today? Not what others expect, but what my soul needs. Then listen. The answer might be subtle at first, but keep asking, keep listening. Third, begin creating small acts of rebellion. Not destructive rebellion, sacred rebellion. Do something your persona would never dare to do. Say no when you're expected to say yes. Speak your truth when silence is safer. Wear the thing, take the class, start the project, reclaim 1 inch of yourself at a time. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And in that remembering, you'll feel something shift. Not just mentally, but emotionally, spiritually, even physically. You'll feel lighter, clearer, more alive. Because when you start shedding false layers, your energy starts returning to you. Your presence deepens, your relationships become more honest, and your path becomes clearer. Let me ask you again, where are you watching from? Because wherever you are, whatever you've lived, this truth applies to you. You are not broken, you are not behind, you are not lost, you're just remembering. And this is only the beginning. When you start remembering who you are, there's a grief that comes with it. No one talks about this part. You begin to realize how many years you spent living under someone else's expectations, how many times you swallowed your truth to keep the peace, how many versions of yourself you buried just to be loved. And it hurts. It hurts not because you were weak, but because you were trying to survive. Give yourself permission to grieve. Not just the time you feel you've lost, but the parts of yourself you silenced to belong. Jung said that individuation, the process of becoming your true self, is not just a psychological task. It's a spiritual one, a sacred one. It requires death and rebirth. And every rebirth begins with letting go of the mask, letting go of the old story, letting go of the identity that got you here, but can't take you further. So here's your next step. Recognize that the journey isn't about becoming someone better. It's about becoming someone realer. And realness requires vulnerability, humility, honesty. And this is where the process of individuation begins. Think of individuation like a spiritual homecoming. It's when the ego finally surrenders its control and starts listening to the self. It's when the parts you've split off, your thoughts, your emotions, your shadow, your intuition, begin to merge again. But that can't happen while you're still trying to be who everyone needs you to be. So the first practice in individuation is this. Allow your contradictions to coexist. You can be strong and sensitive, brave and scared, loving and angry, light and shadow. There is no purity test for healing. There is no straight line to wholeness. You are a paradox, and that's sacred. Start noticing the ways you try to simplify yourself to be accepted, and then stop. Let people see your edges. Let them misunderstand you. Let them mislabel you. Your job is not to be explainable. Your job is to be authentic. The second practice, make space for your soul's voice to speak. That voice doesn't shout, it whispers. And in a world that's constantly screaming, you'll have to get quiet to hear it. Spend 10 minutes a day in silence. No music, no distractions. Just sit. Breathe. Feel what comes up. At first it might feel uncomfortable. restless, but sit with it anyway. Over time, that silence becomes sacred ground, the soil where your inner knowing grows, and from that soil, your next step will rise, not from pressure, but from clarity. The third practice: follow what feels alive, not what feels safe, not what feels logical, not what feels approved, but what feels alive. That aliveness is your compass. It might point you toward a career shift, a new relationship, a deeper boundary, a creative expression you've ignored for years. Whatever it is, listen. Your aliveness is your soul saying, yes, this is the way. And here's where most people get stuck. They wait for certainty before they act. But transformation doesn't come with guarantees. It comes with faith. Faith in your process, faith in your intuition, faith that if your heart is pulling you in a direction, there's something sacred there, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you. That fear you feel, it's not always a sign to stop. Sometimes it's a sign you're finally touching truth. Don't let fear be your compass. Let truth be. Let love be. Let your essence be. Now, as you begin walking this path of individuation, something beautiful begins to happen. You start feeling less fragmented, less at war with yourself. Because now, you're not trying to edit your emotions to fit a role. You're not trying to silence your pain to seem strong. You're not chasing validation. You're listening to your own soul. And that changes everything. You'll start noticing your relationships shift. Some people will pull away. Others will lean in. That's okay. Let them. This process isn't about pleasing others. It's about coming home to yourself. The version of you who's been watching from within, waiting, hoping, trusting that one day you'd stop running. That day is now. And I want you to hear this. With everything in me, there is nothing wrong with you. You're not too much. You're not behind. You're not broken. You were simply conditioned to forget your power. And now, you're remembering. If anything so far has touched you, pause for a moment. Breathe into it. And if you feel safe, share in the comments what part of this journey has resonated most with you so far. You never know who might need to read your words to feel less alone. Let's keep walking. There's one more layer we need to explore together, the one that often goes ignored in most healing journeys. Your inner healer. The one Jung believed lived inside all of us. He called this energy the archetype of the curator, or the wise one. It's the part of you that knows what you need even when your mind forgets, the part that whispers clarity when chaos surrounds you, the part that holds your hand through transformation and says, you're safe, keep going. But here's the secret. That voice won't shout over your distractions. You have to create space for it. So here's a practice. Create a sacred corner in your life. It could be a chair, a journal, a candle, a space in nature. Something that when you enter it tells your nervous system, this is a place for healing, for remembering, for being. Visit this place daily, even if only for 5 minutes. Let that space become a temple, not for performance, but for presence. In that temple, let your thoughts unravel. Let your tears fall. Let your dreams speak. Another practice. Pay attention to your dreams. Jung believed dreams were the bridge between your conscious and unconscious self, the language of your soul. Start writing them down, even fragments. Ask yourself, what is my soul trying to show me? You don't need to analyze them perfectly. Just honor them. Be curious. Over time, you'll see patterns, messages, invitations. The more you listen, the more your inner healer will speak. And finally, create space for silence that nourishes. Not empty silence, but fertile silence. Take a walk without your phone. Eat a meal in stillness. Watch the sky without narrating it. These are not wasted moments. These are sacred acts. In these moments, you are not producing, you are not performing, you are simply being. And in that being, you remember you are enough without proving anything. That's the voice of the curator, of the self, of the one who never left you. You don't need to become someone else to be worthy. You don't need to fix yourself to be loved. You just need to return, and you are. Right now. You may start to notice something strange as you return to yourself. Not just peace, not just clarity, but resistance from others, from the world, sometimes even from inside you. That resistance is not failure, it's confirmation Because when you stop playing the role everyone's used to, they get uncomfortable, and so do you. You start saying no to things you always said yes to. You stop laughing at jokes that hurt your soul. You no longer rush to please. You pause. You think. You speak from truth. And suddenly the people around you don't know how to respond. Because you're no longer who they remember. They'll call it selfish, cold, rebellious. But deep down, what they're really feeling is fear. Fear that if you can change, they might have to too. But that's not your burden to carry. Your job isn't to stay small so others feel comfortable. Your job is to become whole, fully, beautifully whole. And let the people who are meant for that version of you find you. So when the resistance comes, don't fight it. Don't shrink. Don't apologize for growing. Honor it. It means the old is dying, and every death makes room for a new beginning. Now, let's talk about relationships, because this healing work doesn't happen in isolation. In fact, Jung believed that other people are mirrors. Every person you attract, every person you feel drawn to or triggered by, reflects a part of you that's either integrated or not. You meet someone emotionally unavailable. Maybe a part of you doesn't feel worthy of being chosen. You fall for someone who's controlling. Maybe there's a part of you still afraid to trust your own decisions. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. When you become conscious of these patterns, they lose their power. So here's a challenge. The next time you feel deeply triggered by someone, pause. Instead of reacting, ask, what are they reflecting back to me? What part of me needs attention, healing, or boundaries? And on the flip side, when you meet someone who makes you feel alive, inspired, free, notice that too. That's also you. You don't just project your wounds. You project your light, your potential, your essence. Others are mirrors, but you are the source. And when you see that clearly, you begin to reclaim one of the most powerful truths. You are not at the mercy of your relationships. You are the creator of your energetic field. You get to choose who enters, who stays, who leaves. You get to choose the quality of presence you offer. You get to choose how deeply you show up and for whom. And every choice you make from wholeness, not fear, shifts the frequency of your life. This is the spiritual dimension of individuation. It's not just inner work, it's energetic sovereignty. You stop chasing, you start attracting, you stop performing, you start radiating, you stop grasping, you start trusting. Let's go deeper. Because there's something even more powerful waiting for you beyond self-awareness, and that is alignment. Alignment is when your thoughts, your actions, your values, and your soul all walk in the same direction. Most people never reach this. They might know what they want, but they don't act on it. Or they act, but it's not aligned with what they value. Or they value things, but betray them for external approval. But when you align all four, your mind, your heart, your body, and your spirit, you become unstoppable. You no longer seek permission. You no longer tolerate fragmentation. You become a force of clarity. So how do you cultivate alignment? Start by asking, where am I betraying myself daily? Is it in a job that drains your soul? A relationship that diminishes your worth? A habit that numbs your truth? A silence that protects others but poisons you? Don't judge it. Just notice it. Call it by name. Then ask, what would alignment look like instead? Don't be vague. Be specific. Alignment isn't theory, it's practice. Maybe it means waking up earlier to meditate, speaking your truth in one hard conversation, saying yes to the project that scares you, saying no to the friend who drains you, turning off your phone for an hour a day to actually hear your own thoughts. Each act of alignment may seem small, but it shifts your entire vibration. Because here's what Jung understood that modern culture forgets. Healing isn't about perfection. It's about integrity. You can still have wounds. You can still be messy. You can still be afraid. But when you live in alignment with your soul, you are whole. Even in your chaos, even in your doubt, even when no one claps for you. Because your soul doesn't care about applause, it cares about truth. And truth is sacred. So let's speak some truth now. If you've made it this far, it means something in you is waking up. A memory, a knowing, a heartbeat. You're not here by accident. You didn't click this video randomly. You were drawn to it. Your self is speaking. Through goosebumps, through tears, through stillness, through ache. It's saying, keep going. You're getting closer. And that's why you can't give up. Not now. Not when you're so close to living a life that actually feels like yours. Not when you've already begun to remember who you were before the masks, before the programming, before the performance. Not when your inner healer is already building the temple. So breathe, right now. In this moment. Breathe in your truth. Breathe out everything that doesn't belong to you. Again and again. You are not who they told you to be. You are not who the pain tried to make you. You are not the echo of someone else's story. You are a living, breathing soul. And your life is your canvas. So paint it with presence. Speak it with power. Live it with love, because the world doesn't need another perfect mask. It needs your raw, radiant, remembered self. Now that you're remembering yourself, things will start to shift. And I want you to be prepared, not just for the clarity, but for the confusion that comes with it. Because healing isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. Some days you'll feel powerful, other days lost. Some days you'll speak your truth with ease. Other days your voice will shake. That's okay, that's real. Real healing isn't always beautiful. Sometimes it's messy, raw, quiet. Sometimes it looks like crying in the shower, sitting alone in your car, saying, I don't know, when everyone expects you to have answers. That is the work. Because you're not just changing your mindset, you're reprogramming your nervous system, you're challenging old identities, you're breaking generational patterns. That takes courage, that takes time, that takes grace. So give yourself permission to evolve slowly, to grieve often, to rest deeply, and to rise again and again. This is what Jung called the path of wholeness, not perfection, not performance. Wholeness. Wholeness means you no longer split off parts of yourself to fit in. You no longer pretend you're okay when you're breaking inside. You no longer chase approval like it's oxygen. You sit in your truth, even when it shakes. You feel your emotions, even when they scare you. You stay present with yourself, even when no one else does. And in doing so, you become safe inside your own skin. That safety is something no external validation can give you. It's a sacred home that only you can build. And the foundation of that home is self-trust. Let's talk about that. Because when you've spent years ignoring your intuition, doubting your voice, outsourcing your worth, it can be hard to know what's real anymore. So here's how you rebuild self-trust. First, keep small promises to yourself, not big ones, small ones. Wake up when you said you would, drink the water, write the journal entry, go for that walk. Every time you follow through, your nervous system says, maybe I can rely on myself again. Second, speak your truth in safe spaces. You don't have to start with the hardest conversations. Start small. Practice honesty in low-stakes moments. And then expand. Every time you speak from your heart, even if your voice trembles, you teach yourself, I can handle this. I won't abandon myself. Third, listen to your gut and act on it. Even when it doesn't make sense, even when others don't get it, even when it scares you. Because your intuition is a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the more you ignore it, the quieter it becomes. You already know the truth. Your body knows. Your soul knows. Your job isn't to find answers outside. It's to listen within. And when you do, life starts to rearrange around that clarity. It's not always comfortable, but it's always aligned. Now, I want to talk to the part of you that still feels afraid of being too much or not enough, afraid that if you let go of the old life, nothing better will come, afraid that you'll never really belong. I see you, and I want you to hear this with your whole heart. You don't have to be fearless to be free. You just have to be brave enough to try. Brave enough to ask hard questions. Brave enough to walk away from what no longer serves. Brave enough to love yourself through every layer of unlearning. Brave enough to keep going, even when you don't know where the path leads. That is real courage, and that courage will take you somewhere your past self never imagined possible. It will take you to peace. Not the kind of peace that looks perfect on the outside, but the kind that lets you breathe, the kind that lets you rest, the kind that whispers, you're home. And that's what you've been searching for all along. Not more success, not more applause, not more followers or money or status. You've been searching for yourself, for your own soul, for the version of you that doesn't shrink, doesn't fake, doesn't chase, the version that simply is, fully, freely, finally. And you're almost there. So stay with it. Stay with the work. Stay with the discomfort, because you are not just healing for you. You are healing for every version of you that was told to sit down, shut up, smile through the pain. And you are healing for the next generation too. For the children who will grow up in a world shaped by your courage to change. This matters more than you know. Your healing echoes. Your remembering ripples. Your truth creates room for others to find theirs. And that is how the world changes. Not through force. Through presence. Not through control. Through alignment. Not through shame. Through compassion. So today I want to invite you to do one thing, one small thing that honors your truth. Maybe it's saying no. Maybe it's saying yes. Maybe it's resting. Maybe it's starting. Whatever it is, do it with intention. Do it with love. Do it like your soul is watching, because it is. And every time you choose truth over fear, your soul smiles. It leans in. It expands. This is the journey of becoming, and you are doing it. Not perfectly, but powerfully. Even if no one else sees it yet, you know, you feel it, and you are not alone. Right now, someone else is watching this, feeling the same ache, the same pull, the same quiet voice saying, "There's more to me than this." So let this video be a bridge between you, between us, between the parts of you that forgot and the parts that are waking up. Let this be your reminder. You are not your wounds. You are not your past. You are not your programming. You are light. You are love. You are remembering, and you are coming home. By now you've walked through the shadows, you've looked behind the mask, you've sat in the silence, you've listened, you've remembered, and whether you realize it or not, you've changed. You're not the same person who pressed play on this video. Something inside you is clearer now, softer maybe, or stronger, or both. That's the paradox of healing. It makes you more tender and more powerful at the same time. Because now you don't need to control everything. You trust more, you breathe deeper. You respond instead of react. You pause, you reflect. You protect your peace, not with walls, but with presence. This is what Jung meant when he said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not what the world wants you to be, not what your trauma shaped you into, not the mask you wore to survive, but who you truly are. And now, you've tasted that truth. So don't stop now, because the road ahead, while still winding, is yours. Fully, authentically, spiritually yours. You'll still have bad days, moments of doubt, times when your old programming tries to creep back in. But now you'll know better. Now you'll have tools. Now you'll have awareness, and awareness is everything. Because when the voice says you're not enough, you'll reply, "That's not my voice." When the fear says stay small, you'll respond, "I'm done hiding." When the world says be like them, you'll whisper, "I was born to be me." And that whisper will become a roar. Not a roar of noise, but a roar of presence, of alignment, of deep, undeniable being. This is who you are. You are not here to chase life. You are here to create it. You are not here to shrink. You are here to expand. You are not here to prove, you are here to remember. So breathe with me one last time. Inhale the truth, exhale the noise, inhale your essence, exhale their expectations. You're still here, you're still breathing, you're still becoming. That is enough. And if this journey meant something to you, if even one sentence, one moment, one breath helped you see yourself more clearly, don't keep it to yourself. Comment below. Share this with someone whose soul is also stirring. Let's create a ripple effect of remembrance. Comment with a "if you feel like a part of you just woke up." And if you want to keep walking this path together, subscribe, hit the like, turn on the bell. Not because algorithms matter, but because you matter. And I want you to keep showing up for yourself. This space will always be here when you forget, when you need to remember, when you need to come back to yourself again. And before we end, I want to leave you with the words that guided this entire message. Carl Jung once said, Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But now, you know better. You are conscious. You are awake. You are no longer living the life they programmed into you. You are living the life your soul came here to live. Let that be your truth from this moment forward. You are free.